Hello, my young scholars. I am here with you again. I'm here with you again to read Clara's Crazy Curls. So let's get started. Clara's Crazy Curls by Helen Poole. Little Clara May was very, very small. But what was most extraordinary was her hair was really tall. She didn't need a pencil case, a schooling bag, or lunchbox. Instead, she stored her gear in her big, strong, curly locks. Clara often wished that her hair could reach the skies, the tallest hair in the world, and maybe win a prize. One night in the bathroom, Clara spied a jar up high. The label read, "Big and beautiful hair, guaranteed in just one try." Clara reached and grabbed the jar without a second thought. But she didn't use a little dab. Instead, she used a lot. That night, while she was tucked in bed, Clara never knew that while she lay there sleeping, her hair grew and grew and grew. When Clara woke the next morning, she was on the bottom stair. She'd been slowly and quietly pushed out of bed by her crazy curly hair. "Yippee!" she yelled. "It worked! Hooray!" "Good grief!" her mother cried. "How on earth could your hair grow so much?" "I don't know," Clara lied. Outside, the birds all snuggled in her brand new curly nest. Clara smiled and beamed with pride. Her curls were now the best. Take a moment to think about what Clara is feeling right now. After everything that I just read to you, how is the main character feeling? Her hair was extra useful now. She rescued cats from trees. She cleaned out gutters on each house. Her neighbors were quite pleased. And way up high in outer space, aliens clapped and cheered. A planet made of thickly curls had suddenly appeared. Back on Earth came crowds and crowds. They couldn't help but stare. Clara was famous now. People loved her crazy hair. But in between, among the clouds, that's where trouble struck. Airplanes couldn't pass the curls. Hot air balloons got stuck. The problems grew at Clara's school. Her friends couldn't see at all, unless she sat in the very back, alone against the wall. Even worse was a trip to the movies where her curls filled up the room. Her friends couldn't see the movie, and Clara was filled with gloom. Clara walked home all flustered. She felt like a terrible friend. She wished her hair was no longer so tall. She wanted the fuss to end. All right, now think back to the beginning of the story. How have Clara's feelings changed? "Mom, I'm sorry I lied to you. I used all of your fancy hair cream. I only wanted my curls to grow. That was my curly hair dream." "I'm glad you told the truth," said Mom. She quickly grabbed the phone. "Don't worry, my dear. This is easily fixed. I'm calling Mrs. Malone." Mrs. Malone and her haircutting team went to work on that crazy hair. They snipped and they clipped and they chopped and they lopped, and it floated off into the air. Clara realized that having tall hair, the tallest hair in the world, wasn't as great as she had dreamed it would be. She was happy with shorter curls. Her hair was still taller than average. She didn't feel gloomy or grim. She still used it to store her school things and went every week for a trim. And often at night, Clara wondered what happened to all of that hair. Was it out there up high, coiling and curling, still floating in the air? All right, I want you guys to take a second and think about what the lesson or theme was in this story. Remember that a lot of times the lesson that the author is trying to teach the reader is also the lesson that the main character learns. So, what did Clara learn throughout this story?